Hello guys, this is Mr. Cole. Today we're going to be going over the origins of American democracy, the kind of foundation, where did we get our idea of democracy from, and how is it reflected in our government, okay, in our democracy. So hopefully you know from United States history that we got a lot of our ideas and our inspiration for our government from Europe and from a time period called the Enlightenment. Right? The Enlightenment was this time of thinkers and philosophers who were writing about government and really challenging a lot of the conceived ideas of government, especially the idea that kings have absolute power granted to them by God. The Enlightenment thinkers really challenged this. Okay. And we're going to read those in class. Hobbes, Montesquieu, Rousseau, Voltaire. We're going to talk about it in class. But today, for your preparation, I just really want to more talk about John Locke and his two treatises of civil government. Now, John Locke is an English writer, writing during a time period called the Glorious Revolution. The Glorious Revolution was when the British people overthrew King James II and established William and Mary of Orange to become the new king and queen. As part of this revolution, they had William and Mary sign the English Bill of Rights, which declared that certain rights, like trial by jury, would not be infringed upon, but also that Parliament, which was the Congress of Great Britain, would be supreme to the monarch. Okay, so he's writing during a time of a lot of civil upheaval, and you'll see a lot of that in his writing. Now, the really key ideas I want you to gain from Locke is this idea of the social contract. Okay, the social contract is an agreement between government and people, and let's kind of dig into what Locke is saying is happening here. So, first things first, Locke says that all people are born equal. Okay, and that we are born with pretty much unlimited rights. Right? We're all equal. We have total freedom to do what we want. Okay. Now, these rights, these natural rights, are inherent to us as human beings, and they cannot be taken away from us. Now, with that being said, though, he argues that in this perfect system that of everybody's totally free, that we often lose our rights because we're constantly fighting with each other and things like that. So we, the people, have chosen to live under a government in order to have our natural rights protected. And he specifically outlines the three natural rights that we expect government to protect: life, liberty, and property. Now, with this, we call this idea of the people choosing to live under a government popular sovereignty. Popular meaning people, sovereignty meaning like independence, power. What Jefferson referred to it as consent of the governed. The idea of it is that government is deriving its authority from the people, right? And that we are choosing to establish a government based on the idea that we want these natural rights protected. Now, this government that we establish, though, is not unlimited in power. Locke argues that governments must be limited. There must be clear restrictions placed on government in order to protect those natural rights. And in extreme abuses of our natural rights, the people can rebel and form a new government, right? Again, that idea of popular sovereignty, consent of the governed. If government is not protecting our life, liberty, and property, then we can pull our consent from that government and establish a new one. Now, you can see this happening in England in 1689 with the Glorious Revolution, right? A time period where the people, took away their consent from the king and established a new king, right? In William and Mary. Like I said, the other thinkers we will play a lot with in class and read a lot about in class. But I really want you to do Locke, because you'll see why he's so important here in a second. There is John Locke, the author of the two treatises. Now, the really important thing to the American democracy is that Thomas Jefferson was well read in John Locke's works. And in 1776, as Thomas Jefferson is tasked with writing our Declaration of Independence, he is going to parallel the Declaration to the writings of John Locke. He will directly pretty much quote many lines, including the line of natural rights, although he will change life, liberty, and property to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, you will see that many of the founding fathers found property to be very important as well. He will include a direct reference to the social contract and the idea of consent of the governed, also known as popular sovereignty. So let's look at some of the kind of direct connections here. I'm going to make this big. I hope it works. Hopefully you guys can see this right now. But so the idea of natural rights, okay? The state of nature has a law to govern it, life, liberty, and property. You can see Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, okay? The purpose of government, Locke says, is to preserve himself, his liberty, and property. The Declaration says to secure these rights. Okay, so you can see they're kind of paralleling each other. Equality, Locke says, man by being by nature all free, equal, and independent. Jefferson changes that to all men are created equal. When we get into the idea of consent of the governed, Locke says, for when any number of men have by their consent of every individual made a community with a power to act as one body, which is only by the will and determination of the majority. Okay, Jefferson writes, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. The idea that the people are establishing the government. Okay, both talk about limited government, although Jefferson maybe doesn't write about it as directly, other than by describing all the ways that King George did not have a limited government. But then lastly, the rights of revolt, right? The people shall be the judge. Oppression raises ferments and makes men struggle to cast off an uneasy and tyrannical yoke. Quite a line from Locke. Whereas Jefferson writes, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, that was a lot, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. So really what Jefferson is doing is basically justifying our revolution in the same way that Locke justified the overthrow of James II in England. Okay, so like I said, hopefully you can see all that. I know that was some big wording there. We're going to read this in class and break it down in class. So don't feel bad if you're like, this, Mr. Cole, this last slide was brutal. I get that. It's going to be okay. We're going to check it out in class. But these are some of those big ideas there that Locke is writing about. Alrighty, guys. I'll see y'all. Bye.